Amazing parenting. We empower parents to positively impact their children.
Hello parents, Grace here with Amazing Parenting. We are continuing our talk on discipline, harsh discipline versus, soft discipline. So we're talking about balanced discipline. So my name is Grace and this is Amazing Parenting. Here we do all things for parents, whether your child is in primary school, secondary school, university, right up until your child is an adult. We cover so many different topics for parents to understand and get a hold of and build a better, stronger bond between parent and child. So if you're a parent, if you know a parent, share these videos with them. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment below if there's a particular video or particular topic you want me to do a video on, and I'll endeavor to do that. But just to let you know, there are over 200 videos in the Amazing Parenting library. So go ahead and have a look through those videos and you will definitely find something that will either help you or support you or give you some guidance in your parenting. So let's get straight into today's session. So like I said, we're talking about having that balanced parenting when it comes to discipline. Okay, so we'll continue. So we're talking about respect versus struggle, that power struggle. So it's important that we teach our children to respect us as their parent, as their mum, as their dad. And also we respect them. So it's mutual. There's a mutual respect going on. Because what happens is when your children don't respect you or you don't respect your children, that power struggle begins to happen where the parent is trying to be the authority and the child wants to get their own way. And that's because there's a lack of respect for each other. So it's important that you teach your children respect by respecting them, and they then start respecting you. And it's something that you do throughout your household. It's not something that is separate or isolated. Respect is something that is shown across the board between you and your spouse or you and your partner, you and your children, and the children towards each other. That respect, okay? Mirroring and modeling. What is the difference between mirroring and modeling? So we can say mirroring versus modeling. So let's say your child is angry and aggressive in the home. For you, you need to be modeling the behavior you want your child to express. So if your child is angry and shouting and you then shout and angry back at them, all you're doing is mirroring their behavior. So what we want to do, we want to model the behavior we want our child to do. So however our child comes to us, that anger, that frustration, that anxiety, however it is they come to us, when we want to show them how to behave, we then model it to them. We model the behavior we want them to have, not mirror the behavior they're coming with. Yeah, so those two things, mirroring and modeling. Make sure you're the one modeling how your child should express themselves. You are modeling how to discipline your child in that control. Okay? Accountability versus shame. Sometimes, children are ashamed of the things they've done. But what we want to teach our children is accountability, because they are going to get things wrong. They're going to do things wrong. They're going to make wrong decisions. But it's not about shaming your child. Maybe talking about children who are a little bit older now. It's not about shaming your child in what they've done, but it's about teaching accountability and responsibility. That it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to make a bad decision, but you have to hold your hand up to it and say, you know what? I take responsibility for that. I'm accountable for my behavior, rather than they do something wrong and you make them ashamed. You call them out on it and they're ashamed. They're ashamed of what they've done. No, teach accountability, teach responsibility, and by themselves, they'll hold their hands up when they do something wrong or say something wrong. Say, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. because that's what we've taught them. Yeah, so it's better that we teach accountability, teach responsibility, rather than our child make a mistake and we call them out and we make them ashamed of what they've done. Okay. Stronger relationships versus emotional distance. Sometimes something has happened and you want to distance yourself from your child because of, maybe things have been said again with the older children or teenagers to older children. And so you want to distance yourself from them. That's fine, but that distance cannot last forever. Sometimes you want to just go away and just regroup, or just get your head in the right place before you come back and maybe discuss whatever it was that went wrong. That's fine, but it shouldn't be days upon days upon days where you're still distancing yourself. You have to come back and build that relationship back again. Whatever you need to do to keep your relationship with your children, lubricated, keep that the juices of your relationship going, you need to do that. It's okay to be upset with your child and want 5 minutes to just be away from them, 10 minutes to be away from them, a few hours to be away from them. That's fine. But you must come back and regroup. You must come back and, talk about, even if you don't talk about what went wrong right then, but that constant distancing yourself from them doesn't help. Doesn't help you as the parent, and doesn't help your child. Doesn't help them recognize what they need to do when they're upset with somebody or somebody's upset with them. So always come back and regroup and build back those relationships. Whatever it is you need to do to keep the relationship flowing and smooth with your child, that's what we need to continue to do. And then lastly, prepare children for life versus controlling them. Sometimes we get so anxious about our children going into the real world. We want to control everything that they're doing, which is fine when they're at a certain age. But when our children reach those late teens, they have to start doing things for themselves. As I always tell parents, the earlier you teach your children about life, the better. Those life skills that children need, that they will continue to have long after you need to start teaching your children those things instead of being in control of them. Because when they do leave home, if you've controlled everything about them, they will not be able to function in the real world. They'll be taken advantage of in the real world because they won't know what to do or how to do it, because you've taken control of that for them. Allow your children to have their own bank accounts, but you teach them how to save and spend, how to invest. And teach your children how to cook so they can cook and take care of themselves. Teach your children how to wash their own clothes. Those life skills, what to do, how to be in a relationship. These are life skills. What are you talking to your daughter about? What are you talking to your son about moving into a relationship? What's your stance on that? Do your children know? So it's important that these life skills are taught while our children are still under our roofs. Because while they're still under our roofs, we have that element of influence over them. Rather than we control, they leave and they're lost. So it's important that we teach our children life skills. And on top of that, if they don't want to take our wisdom, our knowledge, life will teach them skills. And we all know life is not very merciful sometimes. Life skills can be taught in a very harsh way. So teach your children so they can avoid certain things in life because you've taught them. Okay, so let's end there on this session and we'll come back next time. So remember, all parents can be great parents. It's a journey and we will get there. Thank you and God bless.
Amazing parenting. We empower parents to positively impact their children.